Random Bros podcast fam, and welcome to our last episode of 2023. This has been a pretty fun ride for us and for our show, and we just want to say thank you so much for being along for the ride with us. Thank you for supporting us, for tuning in every week, for submitting all of the questions. They have been a blast to answer. For this episode, obviously, well, if you're watching, you can see, but it's just me and Dad today, me and Pops. George is at practice. And we're a little spread out. I am in California and Pops is in Washington.
Yeah, I'm actually in, what do they call it? College Park, where the University of Maryland is, which is where the team hotel is. So we are at the team hotel as the 49ers have traveled out to the East Coast to play the Commanders tomorrow. So I'm overlooking their big kind of green space in the middle of campus. But anyway, so that's there. And yeah, George's and the Niners are off to practice. So we just had to get it in, and you'll have to, we can put a cutout of George in later. But anyway, that's where we're at.
Super cute, super cute. So either way, for this episode, we have the long-awaited introduction that everyone always loves. We have some stat dad stuff, and we also wanted to spend a little time talking about some New Year's intentions and some energy around that. So with that being said, Pops, I will hand it over to you. What's going on in week 17?
Bam! All right, here we are, week 17, game 16 for the Niners, 2023. As I mentioned, we are in. We'll be playing at FedEx Field in Landover versus the old Commandos. So here we go. Week 17 with 2 games left in the regular season, and everything is still up for play. Unbelievable, but Niners control their destiny. They dropped a tough one to the Ravens on Christmas Day, but they still can drive their way into the number 1 seed. With wins in the last 2 games, they'll secure that seed in the NFC and be guaranteed home field throughout the playoffs, along with a bye week before the first playoff game. We are determining that this is our last away trip until the Super Bowl, so let's get rolling. But as is the norm in the NFL, a lot of ball left to play, Emma Lou. 1 game at a time, and now the complete focus is on the travel to D.C. for this game against the 4-11 Commanders. 4-11 Commanders. We'll talk about that more. As we know, you got to show up each week and ball out in order to get a win, which is exactly what the Niners will be doing this week with a long flight on a short week after playing on Monday night. Those are not easy, folks, especially cross country. So 1 more log on the fire from the NFL. Thank you very much. But this is what championship runs are all about, and that is really the truth. If it was easy, anybody could do it, but it isn't easy. And each year, only 1 team holds the trophy at the end of the year. So buckle up and join us as we preview the trip to D.C. in this game against the Commanders and the end of 2023 and as we roll into 24. So there we go. Boy, I got goosebumps already. I love my own writing. I hope everybody,
up.
Thank you for letting me do it. All right. So, all right, Lulu.
I love it too. Okay, so what do we want to say about week 16? I mean, I know we just touched on it, but it was pretty sad. It was a sad little heartbreak situation. Sad. A lot of injuries, man. That was sad too.
Well, aside from the injuries, just the and honestly, we process this a little bit. You get 24 hours if you're on the Niners. They moved on. Although clearly the media has not and want to process it. So after whatever number of weeks it was, week 15, Brock Purdy's the little darling of the NFL. People are arguing one way or the other, blah, blah, blah. And then he has 1 bad game, which if you really watch it, we outgained him in yardage, outrushed him, outpassed everything. But we gave him a short field 3 times, and you can't do that against a really good team like the Ravens. And so, it is what it is. People want to make a lot of it, and people are worried about what Brock Purdy's going to do. I'm going to stand right here. This will come out. Brock Purdy played, I can't remember how many games, like 38 or 40 games at Iowa State. Okay. He's played in big games. He's had bad games. He's not a guy that's going to get ruffled. And if you saw his stuff, he talked about, look, I'm going to be the same guy, whether we're riding high or we had a bad game. And I really believe that in him. I think you're going to see very calculated. He learned some lessons about pushing the ball in. But one thing you got to love about Brock, he's got swagger to him, and he's going to throw that baby around and get it to his playmakers. So this one we had some bounces that didn't go. We had a couple tip balls, the one that went off George's chest, on a scramble. And people were just in the right spot at the right time. And I really feel like, in a way, I'd have much rather won 3 in a row and it's not close. You know what I mean? But here we are. We got 2 games left, and we have to win out, and we got the number 1 seed in the home bye. And that's really what the whole thing's about. So it's on our shoulders. But I think, in a way, just kind of just a little gut check. People can see how quickly games can get away from you. And just a reminder, how you got to show up. So the last two games, neither one of these are going to be easy. We're going to talk about that. But anyway, so I'm still a believer. And so, I would just say this: if anybody underestimates how difficult it is to win any game in the NFL on any Sunday against any opponent, then you're not really paying attention, because they got players. Everybody does. They're all pros, and you got to show up every day and do your job. So anyway, we'll talk more about that. But that's enough about the Ravens. So
Well,
hopefully,
no,
yeah, go ahead.
I think that's such a good way to put it, and I think me saying it was sad, I think the reason that, like, I feel so much heavy emotion around games just because being George's sister and, like, seeing things and, like, talking to you guys about it all week and just knowing how much effort and energy and just, like, blood, sweat, and tears really goes into it, and, like, all the little behind the scenes stuff that nobody gets to see. Um, I just, like I just want George to come out, like, I mean, and he does always come out smiling and everything, but just, like, the weight of games that kinda get away from you, and, but yeah, I mean, it was definitely a battle, and even though, we had some bad tosses, or some in some disappointing ones, some
Yep.
sad ones, you know, there is still something so insanely magical about being at Levi's, and there was a full moon, and the whole energy of it was super, super magical. And so I think that even from an energetic standpoint, although it didn't end up the way it was, we wanted it to, I think you're kind of right. You have to kind of step back and say, we're exactly where we're supposed to be. We have all the tools. If this was a lesson that we needed to learn and we had to clean something up, then it was. But either way, they still grinded out all week. They still got all their stuff in, and we're in Washington.
Yeah, there you go. And just a reminder, for us, football has always been a metaphor for life for me. So, just a reminder that life happens for us and not to us. And it's the responsibility is on us to find meaning in the events of our life. And we can either let them be burdens and weigh us down and, whatever, and let it. And the number one thing in football, and they say this all the time, and I'm sure other sports have that, never let the last play impact the next play. And you got to flush it. And you can't let the last game impact the next game. You can't, because the season's so hard. So I know they've done that, and I hope they've reviewed the tape, whatever. But a lot of these things were kind of freaky little things, And so overall, the system is still, and you can critique some other stuff, but I think they're going to roll through this, and hopefully some of the people that were, didn't finish the game are all going to play. That'll make a huge difference. And it's a little bump on the road, because in the end, it doesn't matter what record you have. You make the playoffs. Obviously, you're in a great spot if you can get a bye and have a home field, but you're going to have a chance to fight it out every week to the Super Bowl. And that's really what you play the whole season for, and try to improve your position with that. And the Niners are in that position. You know what I mean? And so it's just a matter where that's all going to fall out. I still think they're going to be the number one seed. We got to play some good ball to do that. And they're in a great spot. Get 2 weeks off, get everybody healthy, and roll people up as we did the last time we took the trip to the Super Bowl. So I'm looking forward to it. I've already had people be sending me notes about, hey, remember when we beat Green Bay? And we had the NFC Championship game in Levi's, and standing down on the field afterwards. And all these memories are rushing back to people. And so I'm not quite there yet. I'm still solidly planted here in Landover, Maryland, thinking about the Commanders. But anyway, so it's all good, though. So I think we're going to be fine about that. So anyway, so in the end, we'll see. And maybe we get a little rematch. And honestly, I'd rather be on this side of it than their side of it if we play the Ravens again, because I think that is still hard to get out of your system, to think you might not overlook people, but we'll see what happens. So anyway, enough on that whole thing. All right, Lubu, it is tomorrow's New Year's Eve, and we're out here going to go to a football game and then have to spend the night and can't fly back till the first. So anyway, that's our New Year's Eve. But anyway, we're excited to be here. But let's talk a little bit. I don't know what your process is, but if you want to talk a little bit about, I don't know, we were talking beforehand, a little bit about intentions, or how do you make that transition from December to January, during this time of year? I mean, what practices have been helpful for you, and kind of what are you launching in 2024 that you might be willing to share with us?
Year transitions are interesting for me, and I think as I've gotten older, I just, I've acquired so much wisdom. But I think the thing that I used to really do is I just would always feel like you had to, like, come out of the gate kind of very symbolically like a firework. Like, you just had to explode into 2024 and the new year, and everything had to be ready, and we had to have all these goals and a 5-step plan of how to do everything. And you know, I think it's very easy to fall into that mental, not mental trap either, but it's very mental in the sense of I have to have everything planned out, and if I don't, like, the year is gonna be a flop. And something that, keeps coming up for me, that keeps the universe keeps reminding me of is, so in yoga and especially in Kundalini, a practice that we always try to integrate is that with every breath, like, every breath is a new opportunity, right? So we always talk about how with football, like, every game is a new opportunity, every day, like, be great today, like, choose something today. And so with yoga, we always say, like, every breath is an opportunity to shift our intention, to shift our focus. And it just, the way that it's been landing in my body and I guess in my heart also is that as much as January, like, there is a lot of intention, and I think we are kind of set up to, like, leave the holidays behind, kind of go into this fresh new year, and it is fresh. But at the same time, like, every single month we have the opportunity to start something new, and even just conceptualizing that has made me not feel so stressed about moving into the new year and, like, not having everything, every single thing mapped out, and giving myself a little bit more grace to figure things out along the way instead of being like panicky about it.
I think that is well said. I kind of have the same note. I was making some notes about that, and just that pressure. The other thing that has never really worked for me around that, especially with the NFL, is the annual season ends with the Super Bowl.
Right.
You know what I
Which
mean?
is
And so
around the
really,
same time as the zodiac calendar.
that's what you know what I mean. And so I know this is a new year, but like there's so much in play still that is continuity from this past year. It's like the arc is swinging and there's just too much weight. So I do honor New Year's Eve in a way, and I do have a process with that. But that's the one thing for me. It's like it's not really like once the Super Bowl's over, or well, that's going to be it for us. I'm not going to manifest any other intentions. But anyway, then it's like the end of February. That's kind of when you regroup that way. But as far as that goes, I do really agree with you on that. We've gone so full circle around, and I think it's really important to have that vision. We've talked before about the 4 stages of performance planning, and you do have to know your purpose, and you do have to have some vision and goals and action steps and all that kind of stuff. All that stuff is really helpful, but on the other hand, you can only accomplish any of that in the present moment. And
Mhm.
that's where I think the yoga thing is like every breath really is that opportunity. And with each breath, we have the opportunity to be grounded, to be present, to feel aligned and in balance. And then from there, we can interpret the world and then make responses to that. And so, I guess if I had anything with that, I would really be talking like just what you said, just about having maybe more grace and forgiveness for ourselves. And I would encourage people to think about that as well. And the whole process about just acceptance. This honest assessment period, but it's not a critique in the way I'm such a I messed this up or I didn't get this done. Well, how about we just work on being fully authentic and knowing who we are as human beings and finding the courage and support in order to live that out and let
How
the
about
rest
it?
of it all fall away. So we talked about intentions. And so I don't know, do you have any specific other intentions that you want to share? Do you have something?
I do. I think my big one, 111, California, exactly where we're supposed to be. Um, I think the shut up.
Oh,
Okay.
it's
I
1:11 for you, so I'm 3 hours ahead of you, so if I watch, I'll have to that's not till 4:44, so I got a ways to go.
Perfect. Tune
Sorry.
in.
Okay.
Okay, so my intention is, instead of trying to, I feel like I'm always in the very kind of my masculine energy of, like, always trying to achieve something. Like, I wanna, like, lose 10 pounds. I want to have this many clients. I want to do X, Y, and Z. It's always like do, 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 do. And instead of trying to achieve, my focus is maintain. So maintain instead of achieve. And
Hmm.
I feel like what that kinda means to me is, instead of trying to change something about myself or always, like, pushing myself to be in a constant state of transition, like, I change all the time. Like, I think that's just part of being a woman, and also I think tuning into your feminine nature, which any person can do, but understand, like, I'm like a different person pretty much every single day, and I think that Bruce can confirm that. Bruce and my husband can confirm that. But with that energy though, knowing that I am always going to be in a constant state of transition, instead of trying to always achieve the next thing, it's how can I just stand in a place of maintaining and coming from the energy of I already have everything that I need. And so my mantra this year is everything I'm doing is enough. Like everything I'm doing is enough. And every morning that I wake up, and whether I spend an hour doing yoga or I spend 5 minutes or 1 minute, or, when I try to make healthier decisions or when I take a breath instead of responding in a certain way, or a big one for me is deciding to do less with work. And what I mean by that is really prioritizing my own focus and clarity of mind so that I don't get caught up in doing busy work, because I feel like a lot of times I get caught up in the fact, like, if I do more and if I sit at my computer longer and if I putz around more, that I'm actually being productive, and I'm not. And I think my my focus, which I have little post-it notes up all over my office and my house now, which everything I'm doing is enough. It's just the reminder that, like, going outside and sitting in the sun or taking my dog for a walk, those are just as important as actually, yeah, putzing around in my office. So yeah. What about you, Dad?
I think that's beautiful. So I think you've really captured that very well, and I think that's really good. So, um, I want to say a word on the feminine and masculine because I think you're right on that. The feminine, at least, and I'm going to say this is my understanding, and so I know people can correct me, and if I misinterpreted, but kind of I've taught, hear about feminine energy in that sense. It tends to be, this is very generalized, but they talk of a little bit more chaotic. It's based on intuition, heart, spirit, spontaneity, and that some of those kind of things at times. And the masculine tends to have this kind of organized, linear kind of blah 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 and all that kind of stuff, which I've never fit into that world very well either. But the one thing I really liked about it, one of these last things that I was listening to, they talked about that chaos, when merged with purpose, brings harmony. And so the example that I heard somebody talk about was like if you go to a field and like in the summer and you can see the bees are out. And if you watch the individual bees, they're all flying all over the field, right? Like a meadow, and they're hitting the flowers and doing all that kind of stuff. And it looks like you can't really see a particular order because everybody's doing their own thing. But when those bees fly back to the beehive, they clearly have a very unified purpose. You know what I mean? And so the thing about the bees is though everybody gets to do their own thing in a way that serves that common purpose. And so there is some harmony. So anyway, I digress a little bit with that, but I think in a way, just trusting ourselves into that as we move that and more acceptance around those things. So I guess the intentions that I had for this year is this, I talked about a little bit about the authentic self and living our truth. The other thing is just, when you talked about changing all the time, life is ever changing. I'm 64 now. And you get out of grad school and you get your jobs and you get your family, and then you think that's going to be it. Well, next thing you know, 18 years go by and your kids are gone, and there's a whole nother, and even in the midst of that, things change. And so I guess just encouraging people not to, you can't hold on to things that time is going to take away from you. It's just the reality. And so just being okay with the cycles of life and that knowing that things are going to change. And in that process, one of my favorite little cartoons is, they just show the little cutout pictures and there's a person there, just, a stick figure, and the other person is there, but they've got flowers all over their head and their face and their shoulders. And one person, the regular stick figure, looks at him and says, "You've changed." And the other stick figure looks back and goes, "Yeah, we're supposed to." You know what I mean? And I think that's really true. So anyway, just working on that. So my thing is working on continuing to unpack. And the more we learn about ourselves, it's just like yoga. The more our body does, then the more there is to do. And it's the same thing about learning about ourselves. So healing the self, I still think is one of the core foundational pieces because there's always a little bit more to do, which in turn allows us not to hurt others and ultimately help heal other people. And I think that's kind of my little motif for that. So I have some specific things lined up in living this out. Do you have some specific goals or anything like that that you do want to share about that you're going to do, or should we leave it at intentions and just think big picture?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of taking this weekend. I feel like I've just gotten over, like, kind of the holiday energy, or I'm still very much in it, but I feel like there's a lot of external energy that has been kind of buzzing around me. And so I feel like I'm going to take the next couple days and really de like set stuff down.
Yeah.
Like like the hotel room I'm staying at has a massive bathtub, and I'm going to take an Epsom salt bath and just soak and release and detox in that way. And I'm really, really excited for that. I think I guess my big thing that's going on is I not this year, next year maybe. But I really want to start preparing myself for motherhood. And I know, and so not this year, we're not trying this year. I don't wanna Cody resigned in Japan, so if you guys don't, follow my husband, Cody is a baseball player, he's a pitcher, and so we are going to be playing for the Sendai Eagles, and that team is with Rakuten, and I'm really, really excited. I've actually been to Sendai twice, to watch Cody play, and it's gotten rained out both times, so I've never been to the stadium. But, the team has just been really, really fun and kind of that new energy. So, we're both very, very excited. But, I think for me, I feel like this is a big year of detoxing and, like, getting really clear on what I intentionally want in my body, in my psyche, and all things combined, like, in my energy and even in my, like, physical space. Like, what are the things like, the quality of things, like, the way I feel, like, the energetic vibrations of everything that's in my space because, if all things go according to plan, I'll have kind of a year to go through this detox and be really intentional about conscious conception. And so that's
Mm.
gonna be my big focus and journey of 2024.
It's a beautiful journey.
Mhm.
So we are very excited for both of you for that journey. So that should be pretty fun. Well, good. Okay. I mean, we're very excited about that.
Uh-huh.
I like that very, very much. So, um, okay. Good. Well, then we'll
How are you gonna spend 2024 preparing to be a grandpa dad?
not fret it.
A lot of bicep curls to hold a baby.
Yeah. I suppose that way. I guess what I was thinking about was you get your grinderness very naturally from me. You know what I mean? Like, we have lists and all that kind of stuff and check marks and blah 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 whiteboards and all those kind of things. Which again,
Like, I bought dad if you guys haven't seen that big ass calendar, it's by, like, Jesse it's or I know I'm not saying his last name right, but that's what we got each other for Christmas is big ass calendars and some other stuff, but
yeah. So
organizational things to plan our year.
yeah, and I'm the same way that I can get really caught up in a lot of busy work and feel like I'm doing a lot of things, but then I get back and I'm like, don't know that I'm really progressing to the direction I'm going. So I guess things I'm working on is really stepping back and like, okay, well, what do I really want to be about? Because we have options to do a lot of different things, and so a little clarification of that, and then work on just being really present in the moment and staying focused on the people and doing some of those kind of things. So at least I hope all that will unfold in that way. So my specifics, I don't know. I want to do. I'm really trying to get my 100-hour, or is it 200, whatever it is, yoga teacher training certification. 200, yeah. So I've got a couple leads on that. So that's something I want to do in the spring. It's just hard because we travel so much. But anyway, that's something I've always wanted to do, and really not with the intention necessarily of teaching, just want to kind of deepen my practice and take another step there and really understand yoga at a deeper level. You know what I mean? And I think some of that would be really helpful with that. So anyway, a couple of those just kind of professional, kind of stay on top of kind of things. And of course, continue to work with you on the Hidden Pearls studio as we do that. But I do really want to stay engaged. Physical for me is really important. And so doing some
Mhm.
things in that regard as well. So, but anyway, I do really like the idea of just being a little bit okay. And I know you've got to be kind of a manifester, right? Like, the world rises up to match the energy that we project and doing all those kind of things. So I'm trying to elevate maybe, kind of that image, the energetic level, improve my frequency to make sure, I'm vibrating at the highest level, I guess. Really paying a lot more attention to energetic vibes in that kind of way, but also trying to do it in a lot more relaxed, just finding kind of the energetic flow and finding my space in that stream and then just kind of flowing with the current a lot more and
Mm.
letting the universe. I've always had this notion, the wood doesn't get chopped unless you pick up the axe and go out and do it, you know what I mean, which is a real do kind of, doing kind of thing.
Mhm.
And I really want to, I think you still have to do you obviously got to do those things. You got to put in the time and the energy. But at the other hand, emotionally and spiritually and energetically, I want to be on the other side of things, kind of letting the universe reveal itself and letting the path be discovered that way somehow.
Yes, I totally agree. It's and even, like, the transition between so 2023 was a 7 year, right? So you add all the numbers up, you get a 7. 7 is all about our auric energy. So, like, all the prep work and all the things that we did this year, it was very energetically to support, like, this energetic cleanse or, like, get clear on the vibrations that we want in our space. And
Yeah,
then 2024 is an 8 year, and so the energy of that is having the courage and the energy to take action on those things. And so but taking action can also just mean, like, not answering a phone call or
sure.
saying no to certain things. And so it doesn't action doesn't have to be like adding so much more things to your to-do list or stacking in another habit. And it doesn't have to be that way at all, but it's having the courage and the life force energy, which really means tuning back into ourselves and focusing on your breath. But to live in alignment with those frequencies that we've been manifesting and clearing. And so I think what will be really interesting in 2024 is I think the clarity of like when those situations flare up, where in we're in this year, it was very much like, well, how does, like, what does that feel? And I'm like, I'm sensing into it. And I think in this next year, it's going to be like, oh, that's not a match. Like I don't want that.
Mm,
And that doesn't feel good. And, you know, having kind of that neutral mind and clarity about it, but very much like this is not in alignment with not even like where I want to go and who I want to be, but like how I want to feel in this moment.
right. Yeah, I think it's really important that that's, I think, the end of the year for me, the two questions I like to ask is what do I want more of and what do I want less of?
Totally.
And I think and then giving yourself permission, because I think sometimes we don't allow ourselves the stuff that we don't want and we want less of, then that means you got to say no and walk away from.
So what do
Um,
you want more of?
I
Besides scuba diving trips.
I want more ocean time and scuba diving for sure. I did one of those. They just pop up. I can't remember which, if I got an email or whatever, but it was one of those like wordgram things, with all these letters in it. And
Mhm.
it said just skim through, and the first four that you see are kind of your thing. And
I
I thought it
love
was kind
those.
of cool. I know. So anyway, so I did that, and so the four words I got were connection, love, alignment, and purpose.
Those are amazing.
I know. Because usually I think they're kind of, like, ice cream or something, but no, I mean,
Mhm.
so, and I thought that was really good. I'm looking forward to Hidden Pearl Studio and kind of expanding our connections and all the work that we do and all that's been really fun, whether it's veterans or, all the other groups that we work with. And so that's pretty cool. And then alignment, just, the internal work that doing that and just really trying to stay core. Obviously, love is a wonderful thing, with wife Jan and
Oh, wow.
tribe and all of that kind of stuff. And then purpose, just kind of clarity of purpose and the freedom to pursue it, and just having a real clear sense about that authenticity piece about who we are and how we want to be in the world and some of the things that we're trying to accomplish. So anyway, those things all kind of rang true for me. So right now I'm kind of hanging with that for January and just kind of unwinding and unpacking a little bit more about that stuff.
So what do you want less of then?
Really less busy work, and you know some of the other things that are in my life right now, I have to do just in order to fill some gaps for part of the family. And they're not always my favorite things to do. And so I'm trying to create systems that will allow some of those things to be taken care of in a way. So just numbers, accounting, banks, all that kind of stuff. Not really my favorite, but it's been okay. But I'm kind of ready to kind of pass through some of that kind of stuff. So I'd like to spend less time in front of a computer unless I'm writing something that I really enjoy,
Mhm.
and spend more time outdoors, whether it's mountains or otherwise, or maybe in Bonsall. I don't know. But anyway, so some of those kind of things. So, yeah, and more time with puppies.
Definitely.
You can't really have enough.
I agree. I agree. I feel like I definitely, want less busy work, and I think, this last year, we started seeing a naturopath, and we got our blood work done, and something that I've really been noticing is like how my body carries stress. And I think I've been seeing it. I mean, that's something that yoga taught me right away, was how to recognize stress patterns in my body. But I feel like I kind of got in the cycle of like kind of in the wheel of, well, I'm managing it, but I can take on more. And like the more yoga I do, the more I can take on, and that kind of cycle. And so yeah, I want to, like, for me, less is being really, and I don't want to say strict in a bad way, but I guess like committed and devotional to myself in the way of reducing stress and inflammation in my body.
Right. And I'm glad you brought that up. I would say this, that, with the kind of trying to follow the energy, I think it requires us to live more somatically,
Totally.
embodied. And I'm really, I think I mentioned that I sent you a text and just like, I'm all about rewilding in 2024. And that includes nature, but I think it also really includes just really, really, really working more intentionally about being really in connection with my body. And the same thing about where do I hold that stress and what's the source of the stress? Where's it coming from and can I
Mhm.
get rid of it? Because like, why am I doing that? So I think that's really, but just I think Mother Nature, Mother Earth, they have answers for us if we'd listen. And it's the same with our bodies. We walk around like we don't have the answer, but honestly, I really believe we are the medicine and the magic. And we have the power, not in everything, but in a lot of the ways in which we make our lives hard and people feel like they're suffering. We actually are the medicine that can heal that stuff. If we can just slow down enough to breathe, to listen, and then trust, the answers that arise. So I think that's really important work for you and all of us as we keep trying to work into this. So there's a 24, more embodiment.
I totally agree. And I think, I think something that, like, as much as I feel, I don't know, I feel odd saying this sometimes, but it's like because I feel like my life is, I am so happy right now, but I think so I struggle kind of tuning into this, but that's not the way I want to say it. But either way, I don't want to put out any like negative energy into the world, but I think something that we all have to be aware of and understanding of is like the state of the world is in a pretty stressed out space.
Right?
And there's a lot of earthly trauma that is being processed right now by everybody. And, while like I sit here and I am in a very peaceful state and I am very happy, like there are a lot of different influences that are always impacting us. And we know that there's a lot of stress and we know that there's a lot of pain that's going on right now. And I think it's so important. And this is really one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about teaching and tuning into this, is because like I don't think that things are just all of a sudden going to get easier. And but I feel like the way that we can have a more like blissful and easier experience is by tuning into ourselves, like tuning into those somatic experiences and tuning into our energy. And I think that's really the big energy of January, right? So January, we kind of touched on this over the last couple weeks, but January is our first body for Kundalini, and um it's the energy of our soul body. And so Cliff Notes is like, if
I know what that is now because I've been reading up on
you
it.
do, I know, I'm so proud of you. But if you think about, like, if we're kind of the spirit floating around, right? It is so important for when our soul connects to our physical space that we have to have that connection immediately to our heart space, right? Because if it immediately connects to our brain and our mind will say, do more, and you should be doing this. And if you don't do this, and what you see on social media is real, and like you got to do all this stuff. And what our heart says is, I'm going to put my phone down. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to play. I'm going to find the things that bring me joy, and I'm going to live in a way that brings me more joy. And so the mantra for, kind of the tone of it for our first body is humility, and the humility to understand that our head has to bow to our heart. And so we can't think our way through everything, but that we have to really feel into things. And so the way that we're kind of, this is a little preview of some stuff that's coming out in January for Hidden Pearl Studio, but it's it's how do we find that sense of play in different pieces of our life so that we can start to tell the difference between like this is a blissful situation or this is not. This is in alignment with me and this is not. And this is the energy that I want to feel and this is the energy that I don't want to feel. And I think that if we can take anything, like really what I'm trying to take into January and across the threshold from 2023 to 2024 is what brings me joy and what does that feel like in every area of my life
And your body.
and my body.
Right. I think it's really true. So play more. I mean, that's what they would say.
Play
Like
more.
if you're trying to figure out your whatever, your bliss, well, what did you love to do as a kid? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. So I know the things for me, and none of them included a computer or a phone.
Oh
I
my
mean,
gosh.
so of course they didn't have those things back then. So, but it's all good.
Fair, fair,
All
fair,
right.
fair, fair.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, we wish everybody a very happy new year,
Yeah.
and just an invitation to that. This is going to be an ongoing, self-care wellness discussion that we're going to be having over on Hidden Pearl Studio, and love to have more people join us in that. And so that's, I think, really fun. And I'm looking forward to that, having more of these conversations with you, Miss Emma. So very nice. Okay. Em, would you mind reviewing the current NFC West standings after week 16?
Yes. If you guys watch this show, you know how many times I've tried to read the stats. And today I was doing it and I went just complete like full dyslexic. So I'm gonna do my absolute best. I have everything in front of me and I really do care about this, you guys. So NFC West standings and results. The Niners are 11-4, but lost to the Ravens in Monday Night Football. We are now at Washington, who is 4-11, who just lost to the Jets 28-30. The Rams are 8-7. They just beat the Saints 30-22 and are at the New York Giants, who are 5-10 and lost to the Eagles last week 25-33.
Yep.
Seattle is 8-7. They just beat Tennessee, the Titans, 20-17, and they are playing the Steelers. They are at Pittsburgh, who is 8-7, who just beat the Bengals 34-11. Then we have the Cardinals, who are 3-12, but lost to the Bears 16-27. They are playing the Eagles, who are 11-4, who just beat the New York Giants 33-25.
Nicely done.
Did I just get
Eagles.
through all of it?
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah. Eagles, you talk about a cake the last 3 weeks. They got New York Giants twice and then the Cards, although Cards can be really difficult. So we'll see what they do on the visit. But anyway, but the Rams and Seattle both really fighting for playoff
Yeah,
spots, and they're right in the thick of it. So that, yeah, not to look ahead, but that Rams game, last game of the season at Levi's, is going to be a bear. So they'll
it
be there.
is.
But anyway, all right, really well done. Okay.
Thank you, Dad.
Should we talk about the Washington Commanders?
I would love a Commanders preview. Stat
All
Dad.
right, here we go. Commanders are currently 4-11. They've lost 11 of the last 13 games they've played, and they are 6 losses in a row right now. Now, that said, they played the last 2 weeks, one-score football games against the Jets and Bears. And so, I mean, there's still a lot of fight in the dog there. I don't mean the dog necessarily, but I mean, that's just a saying, not calling them dogs. But anyway, but they've had a tough year with that kind of stuff. So just some stats. And again, by the end of the year, stats do in a way, they tell us who we are. But in another way, there are teams that really, did some good things early and then kind of tank. And then there's some teams that really struggled early and have surged. And so sometimes the stats don't really mean that much. And especially the rankings. A lot of times these rankings, like in scoring, it might be 3 or 4 points, but it could drop you 10 or 15 ranks in the NFL. So things are a lot more compressed but anyway, for what it's worth. So Washington right now comes in offensively. They're 23rd in scoring, doing 20.6 points per game. Niners are third, scoring almost 30 points a game, and they were over 30. But so, I mean, that piece has been pretty good. In points allowed, they're 32nd. That is last. There's only 32 teams. So that's not a great one. They're allowing over 30 points per game. Niners are at 17.8, almost 18 points a game. So they're third. So that's a pretty big difference on both of those points. We've just been limiting people in that kind of way. So that'll be really interesting to see. And so offensively, you would think give us a little bit, we should feel pretty good about that. They're 12th in yards per game. Overall totaling 355 yards. Niners come in at second at 415. That's a pretty big jump. So we're moving the ball pretty well, and they've had a little bit of a struggle there. They're 10th in pass yards per game, though, 256 yards a game. Niners second at 277. They're 21st in rush yards per game, averaging 99. So if those of you who are following it, you know the Niner defense has been pretty good against the rush. And I can't remember the number of games now, but it's ridiculous how many games it's been in a row where they've not given up a 100-yard rusher. They've given up 100 yards rushing, but not to an individual in that way. I believe that's how that stat goes. So that'll be pretty interesting to see how they do with that. Niners come fourth with the old CMC train and company, rushing for 140 yards per game. So that should be something that people will see as we're watching that. Now, in rush defense, Washington gives up 126 yards per game, which leaves them ranked 27th in the league. So that's kind of tough. So we should, I think we'll tag that pretty good. I would expect it'd be a run-heavy game for us. The Niner, again, holding people to the average of 90 yards per game, which is third in the NFL. All right. Then in pass defense, Commanders are 29th in the league. And actually, I've read some other stuff just recently. Some of that stuff's come up. They're ranked anywhere between 29th, 32nd, depending on what numbers you look at and how you rank it. But anyway, giving up around 275 yards per game. Niners are 21st, giving up an average of 241 yards per game. Commanders come in at 19th in sacks, though, with 38, 29th in interceptions. They've got 7 on the year. Niners are 6th in sacks at 45 and first in INTs with 19. Didn't get one last week, but we're working on that. So, Em, after hearing all those stats.
Yes, Dad.
Okay. So, again, you can't make too much of it. And they've had some kind of quarterback issues. We'll talk a little bit about that. So, at least on paper and with stats, this is a game that we should come in and win pretty handily, honestly. So we'll see how that unfolds after a short week, after playing a Monday night, coming across country to do it, and with some of the injuries that we're playing with. Particularly, just Eric Armstead is not playing inside again, and so rush defense is going to be a deal for us. So we'll see about that. I don't want to leave you out. Any observations or comments you want to make on the stats that we've just reviewed?
Logan Thomas plays for them, and I love his wife very, very much. He's my favorite player for the Commanders. That's what I have.
That's beautiful. And we
Exactly.
love Logan. He's a good friend of the family. So, and as is she. So yeah, they're pretty fun. So they're always around for tight end U and hang out in Nashville a bit and all that kind of stuff. So we've had some good times with them. So
Last
okay.
time we were there though, it was the rain game, and that was crazy. Just that game in general, and the guys were literally sliding all over the field.
Yep.
I don't know. I think this late in the game, and since it's a short game, I am going to be really focusing and praying and meditating on no injuries, and just, George and I were actually talking about this. We were talking about just like the jump from one of like the big jumps from like college to the NFL is that you really learn like a pace of play and like how to play in a way that you don't hurt people. And especially this late in the season where like people are tired and every team is dealing with injuries. It's like you sometimes have these new people who are in different positions, or it's like their first time playing, and they might not be as graceful or have the pace of play underneath them. And so I just, to all of the new guys, wishing them all a very graceful
Transition.
and just, it's hard. Not that I've done it, but I just hearing George talk about it week after week, it's just, I hope that fans at least give them some grace in how hard it actually is and how much energy and pressure goes into every single play.
Yeah, and there's no way for us to kind of have that description, but being just around the game with George these last years, we've seen it. People have no idea how much pain people deal with, and the difficulty
Yeah, the
getting
pain
back on
management
is really, really tough. And so I know I hear the media, well, how are you doing this week? You know what? It's week 17. Nobody's healthy. I can tell you, if you're playing 50 snaps a game or more, not everything is okay. And that's just the reality of the game. And so it just is that way. And so I'm with you on that one, just keeping everybody healthy for the playoffs and try to secure.
There's just like a level of toughness and like, this is when it gets really gritty.
It is just gritty. It is just tenacious, showing up, playing with pain, coping with it, managing it, and still trying to get your job done. So, okay. Key players. Sam Howell has been the quarterback. I'm not going to go into that because they benched him. And then the new guy, and I'm totally blanking on.
Oh my gosh!
Well, look at it, just showed up.
I made it.
DK surprise! I didn't know you were coming.
I know I made it just for
Hi,
you guys.
gorgeous little creature. George
Well,
got his
hello.
beard trimmed.
Thank
How
you.
clean. Pull up
Ooh,
a seat, son.
Yeah.
I'll find a chair.
Here, you can move that one. I think is that the easiest, or do you have another one of these in your
Guys,
room?
just another reason why y'all should watch
do.
Okay.
why you should watch the YouTube show.
Yeah, LG. He's going to grab a chair, so we'll be here together. So, but it'll be all good. So, on the QB, but the guy that was coming back, I'm totally blanking on his name now. My apologies, but he pulled a hamstring on Thursday, so I'm not quite sure who's going to be playing there. So I don't know. It is kind of what it is. Let's see. Running back is primary Brian Robinson, averaging 51 yards per game. He's got 5 TDs. I just threw in the kind of the Niner counterpart, CMC, averaging 93 yards per game. And so he's already almost at 1,400 yards rushing on the year. And so that's pretty cool with 14 rush TDs. So really good at that. Wide receivers, Terry McLaurin, averaging 59 yards per game. And he's got 3 TDs on the year. Our number one leading receiver right now is Ayuk. With 1203, 1,203 yards, 86 yards per game, 6 TDs. And then guess who the number 2 receiver is right now, man?
Logan Thomas.
No, number 2 receiver for the Niners, George Kittle.
Oh, for Niners. Yeah, dog.
Yeah, with 991 yards.
We're about to break another record.
Yeah, so we're shooting for getting over 1,000.
So trying our best.
So that'll be pretty cool. And it's really cool, too, the Niners with George, because Debo is really close.
Hey, 444.
Yeah, I know. There we go. Debo's
Can we turn on
close.
some more lights, boys?
We could have 3. Yeah, can you turn that one on? Or you hit everything you got over there. No, right there by the door. Yeah, right there. Just yeah. We could have 3. Whoops, that's moving. Okay. We can have 3 receivers, Ayuk, Debo, and George, all over 1,000, and CMC with 1,000 yards. That has only happened 2 other times in the history of the NFL. So that, I think, is a pretty cool stat and opportunity for us. But
Stat dad.
no. We've already done all that. You've been spared.
I did it without
Anyway,
you. I
but let's
couldn't
get
not do
yours.
it.
Well, how are you? Let's get a little check-in. We just did a year-end thing about intentions for the new year, but I know you're super focused. I don't know if you'd be thinking about that. You're like way up. I got to put my chair up.
Well, I'm just taller than you.
Yeah.
Guys, can we scoot towards the microphone a little bit more?
I'm just taller than you.
Here.
I don't want to go down.
Okay,
I like
my
you.
chair won't go up.
I like you kind of looking like a munchkin.
I think
Perfect.
it's cute,
Okay.
too.
Well, tell us how are you and what's going on? And here we are in old Maryland at the University of Maryland.
I'm doing great. We had our walkthrough this morning.
Okay.
Just been getting some rehab, getting the body right. I took a nice long nap.
Okay.
That was really fun. People told me I was cutting logs.
Nice.
Attaboy.
I was enjoying myself.
Okay.
That's about it. Yeah, there's a football game 6 inches from my face right now, guys.
We got the TV on for lighting.
It's Maryland. It's
Yeah.
University of Maryland.
Yeah.
University of
We
Maryland.
did our
George.
walkthrough at Maryland's indoor.
Brother, at the end of the year, do you ever, Dad and I were talking about how football games the season tends to kind of dictate the year. Do you feel like this is very New Year's, or do you feel like your New Year's is in February?
It does not feel like New Year's Eve to me.
Yeah, that's what I said. I go, it's not till the Super Bowl's over.
Yeah, like it just feels like another day. Like Christmas didn't really feel like Christmas. Like the build up to Christmas was great, but when you play on Christmas, you don't get to open Christmas presents on Christmas morning. You open them on the 26th in the afternoon at 4:00.
Different.
It's a little different. It doesn't hit the same. Some would say. Still thoroughly enjoyed it and hanging out with my family, but just doesn't hit the same. I'm glad that you guys made your flight and you were there 3 hours early, Emma. Thanks for leaving Christmas early.
We weren't there 3 hours early, and there was traffic, so piss off.
So how early did you get to your gate?
Well, I had a Caesar salad.
Okay.
So like
What time did you get through? How early did you get through security? Like 50 minutes?
we definitely got there an hour early. But I will say this. We know this. My husband's a rising Virgo, and he can't handle it.
Can't or won't is my question.
He can't energetically handle it. It's like wired in him that he has to be early and on time. And if he's going to be late, he just doesn't go well.
I'm not asking him to be late. I'm just asking him to leave 20 minutes later than you guys did.
That
Okay.
makes sense
Hey,
theoretically,
well-
but I think we were all I thought it was going to be way crazier. I thought
Yeah.
it was going to be way
All
crazier.
right. Anything else on New Year's though? Well, we're gonna deal with it in February.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, good. All right.
let's see. New Year's. I mean, I'm supposed to tell you my resolution. Is that what you're asking for?
No, the only resolution we
No.
have is beat Commanders. Got our mind right.
It's fair.
Okay. Do you anything you want to add on the Commanders though? We've done a very detailed analytical.
Logan
evaluation.
Thomas is cool.
Yeah, we talked already about that.
We said that too.
Like him, like her.
Brandy. Mandy.
Brenda.
No. Their 2 interior defensive linemen are very, very talented, and they can wreck a play whenever they want. They're very hard to block, so probably going to have 2 sets of hands on them at all times, or at least try to. They're down their 2 starting corners allegedly, and they're starting safety. One of the guys starting was drafted by the Niners last year, Castro, and he was at our team for training camp. He's their starting corner. They're down a lot of guys right now. They traded off 2 of their best players. Before the trade deadline, we got one of them. So, it's a must-win game for the Niners, and we're going to be dialed in. Love the game plan, and we're going to be ready to roll. Take advantage of these opportunities. Good teams win in December when they matter.
Bam.
Hell yeah.
Doesn't matter who you're playing.
Do we know the Niners' record in December and January since 19 or 2000 whatever?
2019?
Yeah,
Let's go 22-2.
close.
23-2. 21-2.
It is. This is pretty amazing, really. 22-4 with the Ravens.
22-4.
Yeah, it was 22-3. So now it's 22-4 though, but that's a pretty incredible record, and that's one reason your faces have been in the playoffs so much, because that's when you got to win. So it's pretty cool that way. So okay, all right. Anything else on the Commanders?
George, what are the keys to victory?
There you go.
Run the ball and don't turn it over.
I love that.
And then get turnovers on defense.
Love that too.
Score a lot of points early.
Amazing.
Get 9 yards.
Pick 6. Yeah, dude. 9 yards.
That's pretty cool.
Let's get it done.
Which,
Get
just
it
being a
done.
dad again, another stat dad.
Oh, what?
So
So
George now has, with the last week, 17 games of 100 yards or more receiving. Guess where that places him in the all-time franchise list of people with 100-yard games?
Where, Dad?
Oh, yeah.
3rd. And the only 2 people ahead of him are Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens.
That's pretty cool.
That's
That's
super,
badass.
Pretty neat.
It's super cool. Come here. Give me a little.
Oh, give him a hug. Hug the little
It's pretty
boy.
fun. So anyway, I just, and it's just a testament to showing up and putting your time in. And before you got here, we were just talking about week 17 and playing at the end of the season, and everybody's nicked up, and it's, what people deal with, and just being on the field, because you can't get 100 yards receiving. You can't bullshit your way to 1,000-yard season is what I've heard.
It's hard to.
So you got to be there, and you got to do the work, and you got to make all that stuff happen. So anyway, really proud of you, and congratulations on that. That's
Thank you,
really
Dad.
cool. So, okay. All right. Then let's see. We did keys to victory, which I think are really good. Okay.
I got some Ask George questions.
Okay.
We can do those.
Let's do them. Fire away.
All right. Axel G17 wants to know, is Libra the best sign in the zodiac?
It's an interesting question. If I said yes to that, I feel like my Gemini wife would be upset with me.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it is the best.
Is Conciergeology wants to know, what's your favorite Napa wine?
My favorite Napa wine?
Mhm.
Wow. Well, off the top of my head, I really enjoy Silver Oak. Big fan of that. Been to the winery a couple times. They always take great care of me and Claire. It's very delicious. But I'm open to trying new things all the time. So
Yeah,
if there are
welcome to,
any suggestions, blow up
bring 'em
in
on.
his inbox.
Woohoo!
Or just ship us a case, and we'll give it a check.
Definitely.
I think that's the best.
do
We
that
go right
too.
to the source.
Yeah,
So,
Claire would like that too.
yeah, just ship Claire a case, and then we'll do an evaluation.
Send to the stadium, 4949 Marie P. D. Bartolo Way,
Send it to
Santa Clara,
George.
Santa
It'll be
Clara,
great.
California,
Yep.
95054.
Perfect. Okay. Fire away, Em. What's next?
Eric 10 wants to know, what are your favorite pair of sneakers? Crocs don't count.
Ooh.
What do you got?
The
What do you got? What do
Chunky
you got?
Dunks are my favorite pairs
Oh,
of
I love
sneakers. I love the cow. I love the blue, the yellow. I think they're very pretty. They're very unique. These are definitely like a top 3 sneaker for me.
Chunky Dunks.
Just happen to be wearing them too.
Okay.
Next.
El Guero Aguirre. Oh, I'm so sorry if I butchered that. I heard you are a Harry Potter fan.
I am.
Are you also a Stephen King fan like me?
No, I'm not a big scary movie guy. I don't like scary movies at all. They give me nightmares and I don't sleep. And sleep is a huge part of my life and recovery. And like if I watch a scary movie, it's all I can think about right when I close my eyes for like the next 2 weeks. So it just ruins me for 2 weeks. So I hard pass on all scary movies. I don't watch any of them.
What is your favorite Harry Potter movie? I know you've been rewatching all of them. What are you at right now?
Movie? We just finished the 5th one. We're on the Half-Blood Prince. Let's see. Movie wise, I think my favorite book is the 3rd book, The Prisoner of Azkaban, because Sirius Black's awesome. And then I would say my favorite movie is either the first one, just because it's so your first time in the wizarding world is just so much fun. That one, or probably the Goblet of Fire. It was just very
Crazy.
exciting. The other thing I don't like about the Goblet of Fire is how everyone's so moody. Everyone
True.
just so it's like all the hormones are acting up, and it's like they're all 15 years old or something. And my gosh, Ron, Harry, and it's the whole movie. That's
It
the
is.
only part. But like the Triwizard Tournament's sick, and I enjoy that. I do actually. I also enjoy I really enjoy when they hunt the Horcruxes. Like 6 and 7 are pretty fun.
Pretty cool.
They're pretty dark, but I enjoyed
Pretty
them.
dark.
Last question. Renee M. Jones _ wants to know, how often do you meditate?
How often do I meditate? My way of meditating, which is through deep breathing and self-talk, like 3 days a week.
What about you, Dad?
How many days?
Every day, twice a day, 365 days a year.
Yeah,
The
I'm in every
grind
day.
doesn't stop.
I'm in every day. It's not even a grind anymore. It's like if
I
I
know.
don't,
I was kidding. It
it's
was
not
a
a grind,
workout
dog.
joke.
If I don't sit down, like I feel so called to my meditation cushion lately, like just to sit in stillness. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, the crazies of the world. Okay. Those are all our questions.
All right.
Thank you
Is there a
everyone for
Deanie update
submitting.
that we need to hear about?
A Deanie?
Deanie.
You said Deanie. You
No,
said
Deanie. A Deanie.
Deanie she got groomed.
Who she
So
shaved down?
fluffy.
Yesterday. Well, not really shaved. Claire
Okay.
refuses to cut off all of her curls.
Okay, good.
Yeah, her hair is cut down pretty much a lot.
George, how was the travel over?
I slept for 3 hours and I woke up and we had like an hour left of the flight and I was like, "Brr." And so then I watched an episode of Monarch with Godzilla in it.
Oh, we haven't started that yet.
Yeah.
Hey,
Disappointed
speaking
in
of
you guys.
this, I wrote this down so I would remind. Have you watched Rebel Moon?
That's the movie I was watching when I fell asleep.
Oh.
Why
So
have
not
you?
very exciting, or planes just knocked me out anyway, but so I'm not going to take that personally. Yeah, we watched it last night. Cody's family Christmas. We all watched it together and it was pretty good.
I
Everyone
remember
fell
like
asleep. We were dialed in. Cody and I were like,
movie or a new series?
it's a movie that took
A
like
movie.
10 years to make or something like that. I think I got right to the point
How'd you get into it?
where like 30 minutes, maybe 45.
Mm.
It was kind of slow. The acting was the plot. I mean, what was I'm trying to say? Like the script was a little
Took a long time to develop.
no, like just like how they talk to each other, and it was a little cheesy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Very.
okay.
Definitely a little,
I
Is
don't.
that a
I don't know
Netflix
that shallow is the right word, but it was just like obvious.
yeah, like
of
there
course
wasn't a
you would
lot
say
to
that.
it. It was like I wrote it.
What?
Oh, you're
Well,
a great
just
writer,
like
George.
I'm not a writer by any means,
I
but
think
there's
you're.
just like it was like a bunch of like kids for their high school essay wrote a script, It just seems not very in depth.
I think that if you wrote a movie, you could. I think there might be a trilogy somewhere inside of you that needs to be pulled out.
No, 100%. I'm just saying, writing a script for that movie, it just doesn't seem like they tried very hard. And granted, like I'm only 30, 40 minutes in, so hopefully it gets better. Because I didn't even get to the part with like the actor that people say that I look like from Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, Jack Steller.
Jack, yeah, him.
I can't remember
I
his
gotta.
name
I never
either.
watched that show either. I need to watch that show. I heard it was amazing.
I
All
had to
right.
take a break halfway through the seasons, just because it gets real dark. Like I had to just take a step away, and then I came back to the darkness. But it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. All right, Bruce. Any movies you've watched lately? Any shows?
Uh, no, not very much. I've been doing continuing legal education
Oh,
because
sorry.
I'm so far behind. So I've been listening to CLEs. I've learned a lot about probate law, which I never do, but I just had to get the CLEs done as far as that goes. I'm trying to think if,
It sounds really exciting.
yeah, no, I don't know. No, not really. I haven't watched anything kind of new or otherwise.
Well, amazing. In that case, let's dive into the charity of the week. Last week we did Tunnel to Tower Foundation. So special shout out again to that. And this week we are doing Second Harvest of Silicon Valley of Middle Tennessee. Second
Um,
Harvest mission is to provide food to people facing hunger and work to advance hunger solutions. So we've been to the San Jose location. I have actually not personally been to the Middle Tennessee one, but all of the Second Harvest organizations are pretty phenomenal. And the amount of fresh food and diverse food, and I guess, yeah, this food bank is elite quality, and just the different types of food and how they sort food is incredible. So special, Second
yeah.
Harvest is a very special organization.
Yeah. So food
It is.
scarcity is, I guess, one of our priority issues. And so we've also supported Feeding America, but the Second Harvest, Silicon Valley, they're very localized, and that is a national group, so they have chapters all over. So just encourage you that if you're thinking about either a gift or helping with food or volunteering, the hunger issue in our country is really very, very real. So if you're not exposed to it, just encourage you to maybe go to their website, look at some of the numbers in your local area. But we're proud to support both the Silicon Valley one that's here local nearby the Niners and Middle Tennessee, which is housed out of Nashville, which we also obviously have a lot of connections to. So just anyway, want to be supporting them. And so gift this month will be distributed between those two organizations. And we're very excited and happy to do that.
Woo!
I will say one of the things that over the holidays, how they have the like at the end or when you're checking out and they're like, "Do you want to donate $5 and donate a bag of food?" I was like so emotional through all of those. I was like, "Yes." I like cried twice while I was doing it, and I guess I know. I think it really just it made me realize I'm like even gonna cry thinking about this right now. Stop looking at me like that, George. But it just made me. I feel like people don't know how far $5 can go, and like how much that can really do. And so just a reminder, I know I don't know, I feel cheesy even saying this, but like little things go so far. And so that was just that was one of my hidden pearls over the holidays that I forgot to say. So
Thank you for sharing. You
thanks,
just
little
cry.
brother.
You cry in grocery lines. I like that.
Oh, I cry all the time. Liquid love.
All right, Jan. Jan's rule number. That's probably like rule 3. Crying is okay.
Crying's amazing. Cried every birthday card, all this stuff. All right, boys, let's wrap it up.
Okay.
So I love you both. This has
You
been
guys
fun.
texted me and they're like,
I
yeah, if
love
you can
you.
make it up, we're gonna do a quick 30-minute show.
It was quick, and then you showed up.
I showed up and it
Well,
was at 50 minutes.
we went on a little bit of a run on talking about the New Year's and transitioning and all that. So
All right.
you timed it perfect. So it's all good. Okay. Reminder. No, Pro Bowl voting is not live.
Pro Bowl voting is not live.
Now it's with
Hopefully you guys got your votes in.
media and the coaches.
Yeah, Bruce.
Oh, sorry, Amy. Okay.
Talking to the mic.
All right. No. Okay.
We're still practicing.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, then we can just kind of close with maybe a year-end kind of hidden pearl piece. So I don't know if anybody wants to go first or no, but I don't know. I've been reading a lot of Taoism kind of literature. I've kind of been introduced to it before, but not so much. But so it was just taking a little bit deeper dive, and just in, a lot of it's overlapping with kind of Buddhism and all that kind of stuff, and just this notion about being kind and the notion of ecumenity. I can't say it. Not getting ruffled by a bunch of stuff. Anyway, so just kind of, and it all fits back into the meditation and mindfulness stuff that we do. So I guess out there in the world, when I'm kind of looking around and, and we're paying attention to all the different organizations doing that, I guess I'm just uplifted that there's so many people out there trying to make a difference in their little niche and all the things that they do, trying to help other people who might be struggling. So just take care of yourself, take care of your family. And then if you got a little bit more, just encouragement to do what you can in the areas that you can. Don't have to save the world, but just, that one person. There's a great story. Emma, do you know the story of the starfish?
No, maybe. No.
Anyway, guy goes down to the beach and the surf, there's big surf and there's all these starfish all over, up and down the beach. And so he's because they're still kind of, anyway, so he's taking them and he's throwing them in and there's just hundreds. And guy comes by and goes, dude, there's way too many to save. And the guy looks at him and says, yeah, but me throwing this one back means the world to this one. And so he throws another one back in. And so, like you said, $5, does it change the world? No, but it might change one day of a meal for one person or a family. So just doing the little things that you can do. And that's all we've been asked to do. So, and I'm just encouraged and uplifted because there's so many people out there trying to make those differences. So it's pretty cool and feel very, very fortunate that we're in a spot that we can try to help some of those people do some of those things. So it's really cool. And I guess the one I'm going to mention, George, you and Fred and a bunch of the crew visited, looked like hospital with
Stanford Children's Hospital.
Yep. And if you haven't seen that video, it's really cool. And there's a little kid there that was a big George Kittle fan. Jason. Well, you tell the story. It's really cool. So anyway, I kind of teared up on that one. I thought that was really cool. So
everyone's crying.
I'm telling your hidden pearl story.
You're one of my hidden pearls.
Thanks, Dad.
Well, I thought that event was really cool.
It was. It was before the Monday Night Football game, earlier in the year. I think it was October. I think it was October. And go to the Stanford Children's Hospital. And one of the rooms that we got to go into, huge 49ers fan, his name was Jason. He needed a new heart. And they were waiting to get a new heart while we were in there. And we got to hang on for a little bit. He played the guitar for us. And it was funny because he was like, man, I have your jersey, but I forgot it at home. And so we ended up getting him a jersey, got it to him, signed it. And you guys can see the video of him opening it up. We also got him like a cool 49ers tight end football that has the 3 all-pro tight ends that played for the 49ers, which is pretty sick. Brent Jones, Vernon Davis, and me. And signed it, gave it to him. And he was just very happy about it. And it was just, it's a fun moment because I think I said this before. Kids look up to football players like we're superheroes because I know I did when I was a kid. And anytime that you can give back and see that emotion on them, it hits home. And I'm very thankful that I could uplift him just a little bit because he's dealing with stuff that I've never had to deal with, that I know a lot of people haven't had to deal with, and his family's dealing with stuff. And, he did get that heart though, which is awesome. And he got this other stuff. So he's doing well. And we're just very thankful for that.
Yeah. And
here's your hidden pearl.
Okay. And then we had a repeat a year ago. You met Evan.
Yeah, I did.
And he was back and he was celebrating his, was it 13th? 13th birthday and his 1 year of remission from his cancer. And so his family, mom and dad and him were, cancer free. So anyway, those are great stories. And so it was just fun and he's very excited and he was grateful to be there and all that kind of stuff. And so anyway, we hope they had a super great time. And that was another great little bump that we had. And you're right about the influence and how much it means to people. So it's really cool. So anyway,
Emma,
Lubu.
Ooh, just any hidden pearl for the year. I think something that's coming up for me is I lived part of the year in Japan last year. And when we left at the end of the season, we weren't sure if we were going to be going back or what the plan was. And I was feeling very sad, like there was a lot left to explore and experience in Japan, and I feel like first year I was so overwhelmed, and second year I like really got my bearings underneath me and felt confident enough, like kind of learned the systems and like transportation and learned some words so I could actually ask for help. That I felt really confident going out and also just more comfortable being uncomfortable in that space. So the fact that we're going back again, I'm actually really, really excited, and we'll be a lot closer to Tokyo. So there's just like a lot more stuff. And it's just easier to access everything. So like Hokkaido was amazing. So thank you, Fighters fans in Hokkaido, for welcoming us, and everyone who was so kind to me at all of the grocery stores that I went to and asking you guys for help. But we're just feeling very excited about the opportunity to go back to Japan and explore that beautiful country. And my big goal is to hike Mount Fuji this year, and go to Kyoto and really explore some of the very sacred spiritual places all over Japan. So that's just
very
that like
cool.
big level of travel for me is very big hidden pearl for me.
Do you think they're at greater risk being in Tokyo because that's the city that Godzilla always attacks?
I
That,
swear, of all the places that
I
I've
don't think
been,
it's very. I don't think it's very funny to joke about, Dad.
Oh, we want to be careful about that. All right, Emmy, we're very excited for you and so happy for Cody, that great landing spot and all the things that are going to come. So we hope we
yeah.
come see you. So that'll be really cool. Okay.
George,
That,
last hidden pearl.
Do I get to go?
oh, I thought you did.
No, that was your hidden pearl that you
Okay.
made me tell the story of.
Well, then why don't you do yours?
What if I don't want to do one now?
You don't have to.
Well, I want to do one.
Well, then why don't
Well,
you?
then give me the platform to do
You
that.
talk about drama. Geez, Harry.
Thank you. I know I'm getting influenced by what I'm watching. Let's see.
No.
My hidden pearl for the year.
No, just
a hidden pearl. It doesn't have to.
something.
Just
My hidden pearl for
what's on your
this
heart?
year is a combination between this Hidden Pearls podcast and my family. I'm sitting here at the end of the year. I'm in my parents' hotel room at my team hotel, recording a podcast with my sister. You guys go to every single game, and it's wonderful. And being able to see you guys all the time makes me incredibly happy. And it constantly reminds me how much love that I receive in this world. So I'm very thankful for that. And then you look about Hidden Pearls and all the organizations that we've worked with, the amount of vets that we've been able to send to games. And you talk about how $5 might not change the world, but it changes someone's day. I feel like we have helped a lot of people and, given them opportunities to go to games that they might not have had in the years past, and just give opportunities to people who might not have had opportunities. So I'm just very thankful to be part of a family who loves and cares so much. And that is my hidden pearl and my wife.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Last week, the Ravens, we had 6 vets in.
Mom, Dad, use the microphone. Use the microphone.
You can say it.
Last week versus the Ravens, we had 6 vets in.
And 4 this week.
And we have 4 this week. Actually, we have 5 at Washington. I play Clash Royale, kind of like Clash of Clans. And in my clan, there's a guy named Tom. He lives in the area, and I hooked him up with tickets, and he's a veteran. Well, actually, he's in the military still. But
Have fun, Tom.
That's really cool.
me and him go at it for the one spot in Clash Royale. And yes, anybody want to go at me on Clash Royale, hit up Emma's DMs, and we'll tell you about it. I will whoop all of you. I'm very good at that game.
Amazing.
Boom.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Quote of the week.
Closing quote of the week is
I left that one in because we didn't really talk about it, but I thought that was pretty good.
This is our new one. There's hope even when your brain tells you there isn't. Damn straight.
So just keep believing, keep fighting, keep going after it, keep loving, keep being kind, and just trust the universe, I guess. So, all right. Well, Happy New Year to you, Emmy. We won't be with you, but we will be with little George. Kind of. I guess New Year's Eve. You'll be on a plane flying back to Cali. We'll be staying at the hotel, but all good. Anyway, we're excited to be here and do that. So we're excited to bring this show to you guys. And thank you so much for sharing your time with us. And anything else?
Bang, bang, go Niners.
Bang, bang, go
See you in
Niners.
2024. Stick around afterwards for a special Hidden Pearl Studio promotion. We love you guys. Thank you so much. And I love you too so much. Okay, bye.
See you guys. Bye.
Hidden Pearls Podcast fam, I hope you enjoyed that episode. We have a special offer for all of our podcast listeners. When you join Hidden Pearl Studio as a new member, you will receive an entire month that's 30 days for free. And this is in addition to our 7-day free trial. All you have to do is head to hiddenpearlstudio.com and use code HP Podcast. If you've been listening to our show, we hope that you can feel that Hidden Pearls is an extension of our family. We created HPS so that everyone can have access to all of the practices that George, Pops, and I use on a regular basis. We offer movement, meditation, mindfulness, and live monthly group calls to help you not only build a practice on your mat, but most importantly, teach you how to take those practices off the mat and into your everyday life. Follow us on Instagram at Hidden Pearls Podcast and watch our full show on our YouTube channel. Tune in for an all new episode next week, and we cannot wait to see you all on the mat.